Welcome back. This is the official support group for Saints fans who keep saying this week it will be different, knowing deep down that it won't. So the Saints have fallen to 1-5. Our glorious one-game win streak has gone. Poof. Vanished faster than the need for Ryan Clark to issue an apology. The game against the Patriots felt like watching a Kevin White comeback game. You're rooting for it, you really want it to work, but somewhere around halftime, you just realise it's not happening. Spencer Rattler, he was good, calm, efficient and confident, but his supporting cast, man, it was like everybody else had missed rehearsals. There were drops, fumbles, penalties, you name it, we did it. And the defense, fourth straight week, giving up touchdowns on the opponent's first two drives, not good enough. At this point, they're not defending, they're just meeting and greeting in the end zone. But hey, there's light at the end of the tunnel. I fly in 4 days, so while the Saints can't take off, at least I can. So stick around. We're breaking down the heartbreak, the highlights, and of course, mostly the lowlights.
So pull up a chair, grab yourself a drink, and join us on the Transatlantic Tailgate.
The Saints, the city, and me. Two guys from across the sea. The Saints, the city, and me. Go past the ladders and MKC Papa. Go down.
This one, you did that all right without an auto
Nailed that
cue.
first time.
Smashed it.
Yeah.
I'll cut the fin.
Did I say it?
He said I nailed it.
Yeah.
That's all right. I might bleep it out. I'll bleep it out. That'll be
Yeah.
funnier. Right, we're here. We're almost there. I'm almost there. Almost there. 4 days till New Orleans, and I'm almost there. Well, 4 days for you, 10 days for me.
Yep. 4 days.
And what have we got to look
for
forward
me.
to?
Exactly. Fly in. I booked myself an afternoon flight on Friday to fly out to Chicago because I know what I'm like. You know what I'm like. My first night in New Orleans, I'm not going to be in bed by midnight. So I thought, Mick, be sensible, act your age, not your shoe size. And yeah. So yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. So packing will be in process. Well, I've got to do my ironing first, but then I'll pack probably tomorrow. Just get it all ready there to go. And I cannot.
Nick's already packing now. Got 10 days to go.
Yeah,
She's
well,
already packing. She's getting
She's
it all
got
in the
previous,
bags.
doesn't she?
We had a bit of a heated debate on whether he was going to take an extra bag and fill it up now or put it in the suitcase. I said, just put it in the suitcase, it's fine. Because I need to get myself that ice white full-size helmet for the bar. It's got to be done, so I need the room for it.
Blimey. Yeah, I might be taking 3 suitcases, a set, so a large, medium, and a small. Because obviously I've only got a carry-on on my flights internally. So that's the smallest one. And I was thinking, put the small one in the medium one, fill that up, and you can fill around it. So it gives me a bit of extra space. I've got 2 hold bags anyway, and then that can be my carry-on. So yeah, I'll have plenty of space to bring back all of the stuff that I buy when I'm out there, which is never as much as you, but yeah, it's
I was going to say, man after my own heart. Man after my own heart.
I just literally could not compete with the Harper. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Cannot wait. On to the game. What about, all right, yeah, again, do you want to have a quick word about the London game? We were there yesterday, weren't we?
Better, as in terms of the experience, better part of the stadium. Yeah, we was on the west corner of the west and north stand. Really nice seats, atmosphere. Obviously, as we said before, that screen was just an atmosphere killer the week before. Better, we got to meet up with Matt Cullen, who came on the pod before, who runs JTT Cup, charity fantasy competition for NFL fans. If you haven't heard of that, give him a follow at JTT Cup and sign up next year. It's for a fantastic cause. So we got to meet Jay.
He did great.
Matt,
great work again yesterday, didn't he? Getting the signed jersey, he had a raffle for that.
Yeah.
Was it about 700 quid he raised with that? Yeah, again, fantastic work for a fantastic charity.
I would say they, so the Jets fans had 2 pubs in London, the Victoria and the 2 Brewers. We went down there to see him. It was just green everywhere. I want to say now to the Saints, if you come to London, get those pubs, put me, Mike and James in charge of getting them filled. We will have that filled out with Saints fans. Like, it'll be
We
wall to
absolutely
wall,
will.
give you all the content you want. We would absolutely fill those two out without a doubt.
I thought you were going to say something else there. Like, but anyway, we're swiftly moving
I don't know
on.
where you're going with it. If it needs a swiftly moving on, I don't want to know about it. So, yeah, it was good.
Yeah, but
the quality
it says more about me than it does you. But anyway.
It does. It does. The quality on the field was shockingly bad. Justin Fields might be one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen playing a London game, and I'm not exaggerating it. You know, we're arguing over Shuck and Rattler as fans.
Yeah.
We could have Justin Fields, and he was like negative 8 passing yards in the first half. I think he had 5.5 seconds to throw on as an average across the game, and he couldn't get the ball out. He is bad. What a near miss with Aaron Glenn by the looks of it. Some of the decisions he was making, shocking.
The end of that first half. What were you doing?
It's like literally, I was going through Twitter and he was like, dodged him. What is this guy doing? That was bizarre. Yeah. Weirdest end to a half I've ever seen. Well, not weirdest I've ever seen. That's stretching it. But,
no.
Yeah, I think the Jets special team looked fantastic, right? That guy who was returning the kicks, absolute dynamite. He was getting such good field position. And then Fields was coming and it was like, yep, shit the bed. Just like, and Bo Nix, like, didn't look much better, but
no, he didn't.
It was definitely better.
No, yeah, he was better, but you didn't watch him and think, impressive. Again, as you said, I think it was the first 2 drives that the Jets had. It's like, I think the first one, because it was a fumble, wasn't it? It was on the 30-yard line, and they literally made no progression whatsoever. And that's when you think, obviously, Fields with his feet is a real athlete. There was nothing there for him, nothing whatsoever. And obviously, don't put it in his hands, because we were witness to that. It was awful. And you called the fake punt at the end of the first half, didn't you?
Oh, so obvious. I was looking, I said, at first I thought it was the other team that were punting. I thought Denver were punting. I was looking, I was going, this looks like or did I think, I can't remember which way around it was, but I was saying to you, has the QB got his helmet on? If the QB's got his head, both QBs still had their helmets on. And I was like, this is definitely a fake punt. Definitely a fake punt. And it was. It wasn't a very good one either.
Yeah,
although
but they
did got the yards.
They got the first down, and then they did nothing. And they had, 1.5 minutes, and I think they had timeouts, and they started running the ball. And it's like, what are you doing?
What made me laugh is another reason I knew it was a fake punt is I looked down, it was Breece Hall who was under centre, and I was like, there's no way Breece Hall is under centre on special teams. He's definitely going to run this ball. It was so obvious. It was telegraphed.
It's a poor advert for the London games, isn't it? Yet again,
it is.
Unfortunately, a lot. And again, it's not us just being bar humbug people. Obviously, we know a load of people who go to the London games, and unfortunately, every one of them is now sort of saying, that's it for me, I'm done.
Do you know what, though, Mike? I was thinking about this on the train coming back. And a lot of them are moaning about, we're not used to playing football. Our body clocks are at whatever time, 9 o'clock in the morning, or they're at 8 o'clock in the morning, depending on whereabouts in the US they're coming from. They said they're just not, their conditioning isn't set up to play at that time. If that's the case, and that is having an impact, play them at night.
Yeah.
Play them at 6 o'clock. Play the games then, when the players feel that it's a better time for them to play football. Because I mean, I ain't going to go anymore for a 6 o'clock game unless the Saints ain't playing and it's a decent team playing. But play them at 6 o'clock, and there you go. But the NFL likes the only breakfast to dinner in the West Coast.
The only thing I would say about that is that I think, from an American standpoint over there, I think they quite enjoy having a game on at 9 o'clock, because obviously we know, like, Sunday is that's the football day. Obviously a lot of people probably intersperse it with going to church, but they quite enjoy getting up and watching a game when they're having breakfast. So it's sort of set up for them. So then you've got all day football. And we know what that's like over here with soccer, when there's a day where it's just soccer games all day. It's almost celebrated. Oh my God, can't believe it. So I don't think they would do it from that point of view. But also, logistically in London, Sunday night from a travel perspective is a no-no. I mean, it's difficult enough on Sunday itself. Sunday night is where everything shuts up. I mean, again, we had it like yesterday when we left the game. I thought, right, I probably got enough time to get home to watch the Saints, get my first train. Cool. I get to the station to get my second train home and they're all cancelled. And it's like, so you're stuck in London at that point. And then it got to the point where it's not even worth me waiting here because I'll miss half the game. So I, again, just went to a pub and watched it. So yeah,
the hardship.
But the other thing about saying is that, no, but Dan, is that we'll have the game on a Saturday then. And yet again, the American audience would be, but then you get the argument, well, that's college game day, da. So there are arguments all over the place. It probably suits them to have them Sunday morning in American time, but yeah, nothing's going to change. People are still going to go. To be fair, I think it was busier yesterday than it was last week. There were only a few seats around us that weren't
But they
full.
were blocks of seats, weren't they?
They were blocks,
so you could see people had obviously bought 4 seats and no one had come, so probably couldn't shift them. And they were in decent spots in the field, in the stands as well, so probably expensive spenny tickets.
Spenny. But yeah, so so anyway, that was an experience that you don't particularly want to repeat with that quality of game, and also again, unless we get some blockbuster games over in the next couple of years, I won't be seeing Tottenham Stadium. And as an Arsenal fan, I'm pleased with that.
Based on how we're doing, Saints are definitely coming over next year. Based on the quality of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They might as well just bring us over for 2 weeks and we'll just have, as long as it's not a home field game, we'll have 2 weeks over here with the Saints because,
I've got a feeling we're going to be
awful teams.
I've got a feeling we might be an away team in London next year. I don't think it'll be a home game, and I don't think Paris. From hearing murmurs from some people we know, sounds like Paris isn't necessarily a foregone conclusion. So I could see them coming over as the extra game for one of the NFC teams, whoever's got it. So maybe against the Giants.
It was in the stadium, wasn't it, when one of your favourites sort of said when they were doing the interluding things between plays and stuff, and she was about next year we're also going to this place and that place, and they didn't say Paris.
Yeah, they said Yes, Cynthia said it. She said next year there's 2 new locations. Was it Australia and somewhere? I can't remember. It was 2, and maybe somewhere else. I don't know where the other place was, but there was no word of Paris in that. No. Yes. Yeah. So
anyway,
I got home I got home about 6:20. So I was watching. I watched the first couple of drives on my phone. Well, luckily Nick picked me up from the station. Me and the kids up from the station. So got in, down the bar, cracked it on. But I was feeling so ropey. I didn't even have a beer watching the game. Made it even longer.
Yeah. It flew by for me, but I suppose that we ought to sort of get on the game. I think I touched on the intro that there are certain things to talk about. I think we'll leave Rattler until a little bit later because I think he deserves that. Firstly, lots of things to not be happy about this week. What would be at the top of your list of things that you're not happy about, Dan?
I made a note here. I'm trying to find it. I'm going to call it the stat lie. Now, I don't know if I read this on someone else's website or somewhere, but Chris Olave, the stat lie, 6 catches, 98 yards. Now, that looks like a pretty good day for a wide receiver.
Yeah.
But the drops, all 3 drops were crucial drops. End zone miss, the 3rd and 9, which would have extended the drive. He's our wide receiver 1, but he just doesn't impose himself on the games in key moments. Some people say, I'm happy to get 98 yards out of my wide receiver, but I need my wide receiver to get his nuts out and make the big plays. And I don't think he's doing that. And I grumble about this one because I think he needs to be more dominant. Average wide receivers can put these numbers up. What's his name? Tucker at the Raiders, he's putting up better numbers than Chris Olave. But also, I get griped when I see his bloody brother on social media digging the team out And I'm just like, are you trying to get him a move out of the City? Because he was moaning about our defense. Where's the pass rush? And I was just like, this pass rush is disgusting.
Again,
he said,
that's again, is a valid thing to say, but we're not talking about that. But, if you're saying it, everyone's, and you'd be a fool not to. Everyone's going to dig your brother out because as you're saying, the stat line sort of says a pretty decent game. Obviously, they were some of the mishaps that he had were costly, and there's just something there. For not last year, obviously because of the concussion stuff, but the previous 2 years, you would have a highlight reel on Olave, and there would be some stupendous catches. I remember the one in. I think it was at home against the Panthers. I don't remember it. The one that was coming over, and it's almost like he running, balancing it.
Juggled it, yeah.
Absolutely staggering catch. And yet again, the one that he seemed to miss yesterday, sort of getting towards the end zone, seemed obviously easier than the one that he caught against the Panthers. Even, yet again, the opening throw on the opening drive, and I'm not touching on Rattler, but yet again, obviously, he had to sort of come back to that a little bit. So that was possibly a little bit underthrown because, but yeah, they're costly. The mistakes that he is making, and unfortunately, we'll touch on another guy who's made a couple of errors in a few games, and they're just costly mistakes because, yet again, even, this is not us being down as in the way where we got probably as majority of Saints fans did get over emotional about the Seahawks game. This is not an emotional thing. This is like, yet again, we were still in that game. Somehow we're still in that game, and with our tendency not to be able to do anything, I mean, literally anything in the red zone, to still be in games is admirable in itself, but also probably shows you a little bit about the level of some of the opposition we're playing.
Yeah, the red zone stuff for me is a head scratcher because they just can't get anything going there. No front, and again, I'm not digging at Spencer Rattler. Not another game with no passing touchdowns in the red zone. Obviously, the touchdown was a Taysom Hill run, and it's just I'm not like despondent about the team at the moment because I think I see enough fight and I see enough keeping them close in these games. They're hanging in there with every team they're playing other than the Seahawks, and I think that's what we asked for, right? We wanted to see them just be competitive, and they are competitive, right? They might be making mistakes, but they're not being blown. The doors ain't getting blown off every week, which we feared they would. So I do think they're competitive, but it's just like you said again. The other person, Juwan Johnson, massive moments in the games, and the crowd turn on players when they are repeatedly that person who is the key individual in those key moments when things don't go the way they should. I mean, could I argue that he was down? Probably. I could have argued it. But when it ain't going your way, it ain't going your way.
No. And there's a fair argument. And yet again, the other thing that you've got to say, and sometimes I think it's sort of missed out sometimes. Sometimes also, and don't get me wrong, I'm not completely and utterly defending Juwan Johnson, but also, you've got to give credit to the defender. Yet again, that was a fantastic play. If he's not putting his fist in there, the ball's not coming out. Damn, man, come on, grow up. But okay. But also that as you were touching on there, unfortunately, especially with today with social media, the outside noise starts to come inside. You know what I mean? Because everybody sort of get percolated by the stuff that's going on social media. They then start getting angry prior to mistakes happening. The moment a mistake happens, there's validation now. We're going to get on our own team players back. And that's where the outside noise comes in.
I mean, it doesn't help that he had a bloody section on the Manning cast talking about making TikToks. Like, I know that's what he does with his wife, and outside the game, I'm an advocate of people living their lives and do what they need to do, but it's just the timing. It's just awful for him. Like, people are going, "Oh, TikTok boy," and whatever. Then that comes out. You're just giving them ammunition, right? And the ironic thing was, I think don't hold me to this. I think I've wrote this down. Juwan Johnson had a quote that said, "Got to hold on to the ball like the organisation depends on it." So fucking it. Oh, sorry, mate. I've just.
I don't think we have to worry too much about this swearing malarkey.
But it's like Don't
also,
say the obvious.
But the point you're making there, Dan, and it's one of these things like Alvin Kamara outside of the pitch does all manner of things. A lot of it is fashion related, and people don't get on his back but he performs. If you're performing on the field, people, as long as you're not hurting or breaking the law, people don't give a, well, even sometimes when people are breaking the law, they'll find a way to forgive you. But you know what I mean? That people will not get at you if you're performing on the field. It doesn't matter what you're doing outside of the building. But unfortunately for him, therein lies that's a stick to beat him with, because we keep seeing it, whether or not there are great defensive plays, or whether it's, sometimes, maybe the throw wasn't in the perfect spot, or it's just him not being able to collect the ball and move with it. All of these things add up, and unfortunately, you're going to get beaten over the head with a stick because you've got outside interests, which are, a bit annoying at times.
Yeah.
Do you want to say anymore?
Taste.
I mean,
yeah.
Game. I don't think the game. If you're looking at the game, it didn't feel like the run game really was probably as good as it should have been. I think Alvin, he got I think 31, Miller 21, obviously Rattler yet again making some great decisions with his feet, got 20. That did, and obviously Taysom was a non-entity as far as from the running game perspective, apart from obviously the touchdown. So that didn't seem to work very much, so that obviously also doesn't help. But the biggest thing here is those leads that we're giving up early in games. Literally, that changes, I think, the whole temperature of every single game that you're involved with when you are chasing from behind.
Yeah, this team needs to find a way of getting in front in the first quarter.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. The point differential for the team in the first half is shocking. Someone put it up in the WhatsApp group last night. It was horrendous. Like, games are being lost in the first half. Like, there's no two ways about it, because they seem to be coming out better in the second half. I think the defense played better in the second half of this game, kept them in it. I think it was. I would say, and we've been very much supportive of bringing the youth along. I think it was a bit of a take your lumps game for Riley and Sanko on a couple of plays. And they were unfortunately touchdown plays, or they were plays where PI was given up and stuff like that. So it was unfortunate, but I don't really have a problem with that, because they've got to learn, and they're only going to get better. Like, there was someone in the WhatsApp group saying, "Oh, their secondary's awful." It's like, but they're young players. They're going to have to learn to get better, and you can't say you got to give a quarterback time on the field for him to get better on Rattler, and seeing that, and then have a counter argument for the DBs. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you've got to give all the players the same opportunities. Is my view, right? You can't pick and choose
Dan,
which angle you want to take.
The thing is, rookies are going to have rookie games in a season, unless you're an absolute standout. Every rookie is going to have a rookie game or a couple of rookie games in a season. They're young, they're inexperienced. Also, as you're saying, it's like you're also not on a great team. If you're on a great team where maybe your offense can get you out of jail, sometimes those mistakes are not reflected as highly, but unfortunately they will be. Rookies going to have rookie games. I've got no issue with that. Anyone getting on Sanka's back needs to have a word with themselves, because obviously what he's already done this season, yet again, we should be happy with that. But he's obviously at times, and he took full responsibility for it. So yet again, accountability, that's what you want. But people are going to make mistakes, especially young rookies. So yet again, I haven't got a major issue with that. I mean, from a defensive perspective, you have to have an issue, because giving up those leads early in the game, it just changes the temperature of the game, as I said earlier. And the one thing you sort of touched on there is, all right, the second half performances have been better. So maybe that's Staley making his adjustments, sort of, and that was and yet again, that's very DA-like, didn't it? We always used to have that sort of problem with DA, but then he'd make adjustments, and then it was like, people say, why don't you, why didn't you go into the game with those adjustments? Well, you can't adjust to something that's not happened. So, but yeah.
I probably, I probably worry more about offensively. We don't seem to be getting much going on in the first quarter, because those are supposed to be the 15 plays that you've drawn up and you've been practicing during the week. So you expect those to be better executed. But Rattler seems to be finding more comfort once he gets past those plays, and he's been able to be a bit more of himself, I suppose. And maybe I'm wrong. Do you know what I mean? It's like seems to get better as the game goes on, Rattler. Although we started the game with a plop.
I think yesterday that wouldn't be the case because, as you're saying, he opened up the game with that bomb down the field to Olave, and yet again you're on the fringes of the red zone, or at least you're in the scoring zone, and we couldn't finish it off. We couldn't get it done.
But if you said if that throw had been a little bit more on that throw, it's in front of Olave and it's touchdown.
And that's not that's not digging Rattler out.
No,
exactly. But then we had that again. We had that with our second drive. It was a fairly decent drive, but then we took you got to take your lumps sometimes when you're trying to rebuild and you're getting younger. And the great thing is we are getting younger. I think the average age of our roster now is down to about 27, which is good. I think that's the average around the league. There's only a few teams that are below that. So, again, you take your lumps. We're in a rebuild, and it wasn't a disaster yesterday. It wasn't.
No, we was one score behind. It's like,
there are things that can be worked on. And the major thing is sort whatever the problem is, sorting the red zone situation out, because we pay far too many visits to that area of the field and don't get a major return. Obviously, Groupie yesterday was better, and that's a little tick and a plus. But if
the punter's not great.
No, and also, so if you're not scoring points, you're just putting more pressure on your defense anyway, because you're sort of sitting there thinking, right, best we're going to get is 3 points here.
Well, there was a couple of times when they got the Patriots 3 and out in the second half when they needed to. The defense got the offense back on the field. I just think I've said about Olave, I think the Juwan fumble is brutal because that's the one where you get good field position, you take the lead. If he doesn't drop that. To be fair, the Patriots are quite aggressive punching the ball out. It was a couple of times when they got their hands in and had a go at it. There's a couple of ones. He challenged one about it was an Olave one. Vrabel challenged it and said that he'd completed the catch. And again, I have no clue what a catch is anymore because he clearly...
We had this at the Jets game as well, didn't we?
Same thing at the Jets. It's like, someone please just either say it's as soon as they've got it and you're done, or it's because I didn't get it. I don't get it. And it's just too confusing. You could probably have a multi-screen on DAZN, right? And you could have 4 games on at once and you could have exactly the same time 4 passes that are identical, and 2 of them would say they're not passes, and 2 of them would say they are. 2 of them say they are catches, 2 of them say they're not. That's how inconsistent the standard of refereeing is.
It's consistency, isn't it? It's consistency. We have the same problem over here in soccer with VAR. It's like some of the decisions you just don't understand because the previous week an identical situation is given in a different way. So, that's gonna be a problem for forever. That's not going to get sorted soon. So, but
I want to
go on. No, I was going to say. So, where do we? The Rattler situation. I got into a bit of a ding dong, didn't I, in the UK Saints group because I'd had a few Guinness post game. And I thought, I mean, anybody who listens to this pod knows that I've defended Rattler all year this season. So, I just thought I'd had a couple of drinks and I thought, let me just throw a couple of little hand grenades, of course, in there and just see what. And there was it was a little bit of a civil war going on at one point. But I was just sitting there drinking my Guinness, having a laugh, thinking, this is all entertaining. So, but that was all over the Rattler situation.
Well, those Rattler boys, they're always in the right? They're always in the right. Those boys who support Rattler.
Yeah. And
you're not going to reform their opinions, Mike. You're not going to reform their opinions.
No, and I don't want to reform anyone's opinion. Yeah, it was almost like getting on to Rattler yesterday. As I said in the intro, very calm, composed. it was, I think yet again, if you look at when you look at the stats for yesterday and you look at Rattler, and it was, I think he was on, wasn't it 8.7 per attempt for him
Numbers are
yesterday?
going up, yeah.
They're going up and they're going up. And 8.7 it was before yesterday. That was Stafford's league leading number, 8.7 per attempt. So, yeah, again, he's jumped from 7.7, I think it was the week before, and then it was 6 something the week before. So every week,
20 for 6. 20 for 26 he was. And 4 of those incompletions were on Olave drops.
Yes. So, yeah, again, you cannot ask for anything more from him. Improvement week after week. I think everybody probably is in agreement. That's probably his best game for us.
I think so. Yeah.
Yet again, is wonderful. The sort of the hand grenade that I threw into the group was yet again asking. I didn't start it. I think it was when people were saying about the wasted pick at 40. Now I understand people's arguments about that, because yet again, we come out of that game yesterday and you're thinking, if you had some top level skill players out, a bustling 6'3", 6'4" wide out. Oh, we do have one of them, but he doesn't get very many snaps. Sorry.
He's looking better though. He is looking better when he is getting in.
He's looking better.
Touchdown ruled out. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're not seeing enough of him, are you? I think his
exactly.
Snap count,
he's got to be in the game more.
I think his snap count yet again is increasing week on week, and yet again that may be because he's still not completely and utterly au fait with the playbook or whatever it is, but it is increasing. But I just think you need to see more of him, because at the moment what we're doing is not working. So you need to try and find some other things. Obviously Foster and Taysom are still getting up to speed with the game. That might change some things. But going back to Rattler, like the hand grenade I threw in was literally saying about, do we think we'll see Shuck this year? And that is more about the fact that I had no issue whatsoever with Rattler, but this year there's a distinct possibility by week 10 we're going to be 1-9. That's distinct. That's not me. I hope we're not, because I'm flying out on Thursday to see 2 games at great cost, for a wonderful experience. That wonderful experience is always better when I have a Saints win in my back pocket. So I'm certainly not asking us not to be not to be a winning team in the next few games, but the likelihood is that could be the case. Rattler, I think, to a point now, has proven, I think, especially after last night's game, that he is a QB who can start in the NFL.
Absolutely, 100%, 100%.
What level of QB, yet again, is still to be determined. But by the time we get to week 10, if he continues improving, if he doesn't have a meltdown, you've got a proven starter QB in the NFL. So that's what the Saints will have in their pocket. The problem is everyone's saying about, the pick at 40 is wasted. Look, we can get into whether or not we should have ever picked Shuck, but I think the reasons for doing it were right. And actually, that's probably part of the reason why Rattler maybe is improving at the rate he is, because he has competition. So, but you get to that point where people saying it's going to be a wasted pick, or it was a wasted pick at 40. It certainly will be a wasted pick at 40 if you don't get to see Tyler Shuck throw a ball in the NFL. And that's my only point, is that we're going to be a losing team, whether we end up, 2-15, 1-16, 4, whatever we're going to be at the end of the season, we're going to be a losing team. So everyone's saying, throw the young players out, throw the young players out. Well, throw that other not so young player out and see what he's got. Let's see what he can do. And that's not a slight on Spencer at all.
Yeah, and you can manage the press and the media with it by saying, look, we need to see what we've got here before we move into next season, because, we have to make decisions around who we're going to draft. We've got a high draft pick, and, I don't think there's a quarterback that's screaming, banging the table for teams to pick him. But at the same time, it's like, if someone does emerge the next 6 weeks of the college season into the playoffs, you've got to know if this player's better than the 2 quarterbacks you've got on your roster, and whether or not the Saints are looking at it and saying, you know what, we want to give both these players time behind a settled O-line, because now we're starting to see more of a settled O-line. Maybe that'll be like, well, we'll give Rattler another 4 games. That takes us to this point. Then we can give Shuck a similar amount of games behind the same O-line and see what they do. I think they've got to play. I think I said this before, and I've heard this on a multiple podcasts, New Orleans Football and other podcasts. You want to see what you've got with Shuck before you decide if you're going to trade away Olave or Shaheed. Because if there's a connection there, you might want to give one of them a contract. I personally think Olave's probably the most likely one to be traded, but
yeah,
because you get the most value from it, or maybe Pete Werner, because Stutzman's seeing the field now and Stallbird's seeing the field now, and maybe they're like, well, let's get some value, get that, take the hit on the contract, and go there. But I think Spencer Rattler, he looks far better than I ever imagined he would this season. I think he's upped his game. He's got better with every game. I think he's proven doubters like me wrong. I want to, and the flip side of the argument is we say, oh, maybe he's not as accurate as he wants. If you got Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase or a top wide receiver, Mike Evans, they're going to come down with some of those balls that Olave's missing because they've just got that catch radius that they can go.
If
oh,
you've got,
don't matter if it's a bit off.
Exactly.
Mike Thomas would have caught it, you know.
Exactly. If you've got a top quality playmaker, then you don't have to be the most accurate. And yet again, this is, I'm not being disparaging about Spencer, but, even people who are Spencer Rattler fanboys from, last year and stuff where nothing really was proven because of all the problems that the Saints had. Even they would say there might be a little bit of a problem with accuracy. But also the other thing is again, I just look at it from, if you're looking at it from a business management perspective, if you throw Tyler Shuck out there, even if it's for 5 games, and he looks like he has ability and actually looks like he might be an NFL type starter, from a business management point of view, the great thing is then you've got that in your back pocket, which is you can then say, right, we need a couple of additional picks. There are so many teams in the league who are probably looking for QB help at the moment. Then, again, it's just like you'll have that as a proven asset. At the moment, there's no proof of what type of asset he is as well.
Yeah, I think one of the things that made me laugh last night when you was getting into it is someone, I can't remember who it was, I'm not going to try and remember, but someone put out there, they just said, he's old, he's too old, he's 27, 28, whatever, exaggerating his age or whatever. And then a couple of messages later, this same person then made a statement about, I think QBs need to stay in college for the 4 years minimum so you can see, how they develop. And I was like, you're digging the Saints out for drafting a bloke who was in college for a longer period. It was a COVID year as well, so you get the extra year on, but you also want to see that. Like, make your mind up. What do you want? I think people are hung up on Shuck because of the age thing, and they probably have never seen him play for Louisville or anyone. They're like, oh, he's too old. I don't want him.
Yeah, and it's like, again, it's
at the moment, Rattler's doing nothing to lose the job. So I fully get people saying Shuck shouldn't play.
Yeah. This is certainly not, if anybody wanted to sort of come at us and say, God, you're being so negative about Rattler, I think go back and have a look just on this pod. Absolutely shining a light on him. And, even me saying I think he's proved himself an NFL starting quarterback. So what you've got. I mean, again,
he's a top 20 QB at the moment, 100%.
Exactly. Let him play out the season. Great. Whatever our losing record is at the end of the season. But we already know what Spencer can give you. And so, again, that next year, if none of those QBs in college over the next few weeks stand out, and if there isn't somebody that you absolutely are pinning your franchise's hopes on, you don't have to worry about it because you've already got, and yet again, this is not just me saying it, it's like everybody is saying it, even people, as you said, Dan, where you might not have been as positive about Rattler, looks like a starting QB. Great. That's what we've got. Fantastic. Doesn't mean he's going to be elite. Doesn't mean he's going to be, franchise QB. You can argue what that actually means, but, we don't know if he's going to be absolutely elite, but we know we've got a starting QB there. So the pressure comes off us slightly for next year from a college perspective.
He's better than Justin Fields. I can tell you that from what I've seen. Much better than Justin Fields.
Even with his feet, by the looks of it.
Yeah, if Jets want a QB, do you know what I mean? They got to go and get one. I would have stuck in Tyrod Taylor yesterday. But I think Rattler's doing nothing to lose the job. I just think it becomes a business decision at the end of the day.
Absolutely. It does. It does.
It is.
Anyway, enough about Spencer. We praised him, but also, I hope, explained why we would look at the situation that why in the way that we're looking at it. But anyway, I want to know. About your seasoning, brother. What's your seasoning?
My seasoning, right? I'm gonna. You know, sometimes you and a buddy, you go out for dinner, and you sit down, decent restaurant. You've ordered something you think is going to be nice. Comes up, you start eating it. This is all right. Does the job. Some of the sides are a bit off, and then you look over, and your mate's got an exquisite meal that you're just sitting there thinking, oh, man, I wish I had that. I wish he's got the steak's perfect. He's got the cream spinach on the side. It just looks amazing. He's got a lobster mac and cheese. He's like, I wish I'd ordered that. So my seasoning is Drake Maye, because I sat watching the game thinking, I wish we had Drake Maye. Nothing against Rattler, but Drake Maye looks fantastic. I think we will look back on that draft class, and I think it will be him and Jaden. And then I think Rattler's going to be a lot more closer to the conversation with McCarthy and Caleb Williams than anyone would ever give him credit for. But I think Drake Maye and Jaden are going to be head and shoulders the QBs from this draft class that we go. They were great, but I think Rattler is definitely closing the gap.
Oh yeah. I mean,
you can talk about him in the same breath as Caleb Williams.
We saw one of that draft class yesterday, and at the moment, you know, obviously I know what he did last year, but if you ask me to choose between my QB and that QB, I know which QB I'm choosing. Drake Maye was horribly, I say horribly impressive.
Good.
His stats are not too dissimilar to Spencer Rattler's. It's just his ability to maneuver in and out of the pocket was really impressive yesterday.
Some of those plays,
so many
as
plays.
Well.
Yeah.
And there was a couple to booty down the sideline, and just some of the. He just looks like a top quarterback, like in the making.
You know what I like? You've got it. It's a booty call.
LSU boy.
Yeah, he's, you know, I know Butte, I think obviously him and Drake Maye seem to have a real good relationship and understanding, because obviously he hasn't really done anything in the league for the last couple of years, really. But I think he's had a couple of pretty strong games this year. Obviously that relationship is developing.
Matured, definitely. Yeah, he's built a rapport there.
Yeah. I know. But then also that's where you get into the situation with the Saints, which is, you know, you've got a couple of receivers that are being, what we understand, are being chased by other teams in the league, which means that they obviously look at them as decent receivers. Red zone wise, we can't make those plays, and yet again, why? I'm going to leave it at that. But anyway, going back to Drake Maye.
Yeah. So where's your seasoning this game?
My seasoning is, and I'm not going to name certain names, but anyway, you stroll along a certain street in New Orleans, you think, you know what, I want a bit of lunch. You pop in, you eat a po' boy, slightly different type of po' boy. Really, really lovely though. Really enjoy it. You come out, and then you have to go back to your hotel because you got the shits, and it's kippered you up and done you in for a couple of days. So mine is Blake Groupie.
You ain't walking back to the hotel from there. Sorry, God.
Yeah, Blake Groupie. It was like, as you're eating it, you're like, yeah, look, he's back on form. And then afterwards, you're just like, yeah, whatever. It's literally, yeah. Does that mean that you can forgive what you've just put in your mouth? And anyway, so it's a bit meh, is all I'm saying. And also, I'm doing some real sort of wild double entendre stuff tonight. I don't know why. Anyway, so yeah. Basically, mine's groovy. You have a bit of a dodgy po' boy, which tastes lovely, and then you're pissing out your ass.
Pro tip: so if you eat the po' boy at that establishment that you're talking about,
and
you do come out and you do find within a reasonable time frame you do need to use the restroom, the Bromart, across the street, not a bad little spot, but it's only one toilet, so if you get someone waiting to come in behind you got to make your apologies. But also there's that smoothie place a little bit down, which is
don't go in
not
there.
bad, but I'm pretty sure you blocked the toilet in there
from the last time we went in there. But anyway, we will have to do that.
That's my spot on magazine. That is your spot on magazine. Is that smoothie place?
A restroom episode, I think. I think we've always said we should do a restroom episode.
Yeah, we did when we first started doing this pod. The first few episodes we gave restroom recommendations.
Yeah,
Sheraton was your top spot, but maybe we can do that after the trip. We can do a restroom recommendation video. Maybe we can get some.
As I said, we have said previously on the
guests.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We've said on the episode we're going to go back to getting guests on and asking where's the best shitter. Oh, I mean restroom.
Where's the best? Where's your best restroom? We'll try and get Ross on, Underhill, Trips, any of them. Get them all on. John O'Barnes. We'll get everyone to come on. This is the best place I've taken a dump outside my home in New Orleans.
Yeah, and we'll call that episode the Saint Shitty and Me. Yeah,
but
episode. We'll get that canned up. We'll do that.
I might be able to get some light.
Oh god. Anyway, we're going down a route we really don't want to go down.
You'll be in there with your phone.
The only word I'm going to say is, I'm going to say camera roll, and then we'll leave it at that. Me and Dan, unfortunately, are known for whatever.
That's at airports, though. That's at airports. But yeah, you be in the toilet. But look at the ambience. This lovely ambience in here. Oh, look, there's a sticker on the ceiling.
Yeah,
clipping that.
So there's our season. You came with the first, which was again me and my double entendres. You said Drake Maye, which is the first time we've had a opposition player. Mine's Blake, which is giving him some praise, but also a bit of really. So what else have we got? What else have we got? Anything else? I think that might be it. Just looking forward to our trips, aren't we?
Yeah, we've got the Chicago Bears. Bears are playing tonight, so by the time this drops, the game will just be about to start or would have finished, and you depending on when you're listening or watching. So the Bears play Commanders tonight. They was on a bye week last week, so we get an extra day's rest. When you're going up to, as you mentioned, you're going up to Soldier Field for this. You're going to be there with Charlie and Karras and our boy Eric. He's going to be in town for his bachelor party.
Yeah, for his stag.
Bachelor debauchery, I would probably say.
Come on, we're not American. It's a stag.
It's a stag.
It's a stag.
Stag party. Stag.
I might get a t-shirt by the hall. It's a stag. Yeah, so I'm going to be there. I've not literally again, obviously I know Chicago, everybody raves about the eating restaurant scene there. At the moment, I've not really done anything where I've booked stuff because obviously from my point of view, I roll in there on Friday late afternoon. I won't be at my hotel until sort of early evening. By that point, I'm not going to go anywhere fancy. I'll just go somewhere, grab a slice of pizza or more street food type stuff. And then Saturday, yet again, I just want to wander around. I don't want to have to be tied to being at a certain place at a certain time because I've never been to Chicago. So I just want to walk around and see as much of it as I can. Sunday's the game. Monday, I fly out. I have got some recommendations.
You're not going to the Home Alone house?
I'll just go up to where I used to live, Dan, remember?
Oh, man, Marley.
No, shout out because I've got a couple of recommendations from our boy Shane. And congratulations to Shane, who completed the Chicago Marathon today. Absolutely superb effort, my friend. He was keeping us updated pre-run and then post-run sort of he was keeping us updated with what alcohol he was drinking, to be honest, which if I was doing 26 miles, Jesus Christ, I wouldn't be touching anything like that.
Nah,
a month out.
Touching cloth.
Yeah. Yeah, Saint Shitty Me. But yeah, well done, Shane. Absolutely splendid effort. Everybody knows we talk about Shane a fair amount on this pod because he's a beautiful man. And we get to see that beautiful man and his beautiful family very soon.
Yep. Can't wait. So, when you fly back on Monday? I'm doing podcast organising on a podcast because we need to record on that Monday.
Yeah, I fly back. I think it's early afternoon, so I should be in the city for I think about 5:30. So again, by the time I get to my hotel, probably about 6:30, 7ish. So, I can. Obviously, I'll have to play by your.
I might have a guest for us.
Okay.
A Chicago Bears fan and a journalist in the UK. I've just got to confirm on that, so I might have to just tease him. Might not happen, but depending on timings, well, we have to work it out. There's no way I'm doing a podcast at midnight on a Monday.
I personally can't wait. I'm very excited. I'm looking forward to my first night there, and then having to scrape myself out of bed to go on a flight again. But it's all good. Hotel's going to take me luggage and walk on with the carry-on. Let's go. Let's go.
And you got to scrape yourself out of bed to go to LSU on the Saturday at 8 o'clock in the morning. I negotiated you an extra hour there. Hour.
So everybody who watched this, anybody who might be in the city, we're having the Brits Are Coming party at Wrong Iron on the Friday night. Obviously looking forward to that. That's being hosted by the guys over at Dome Patrol. We're hoping a few of our friends and maybe some of the acquaintances that we know in the city are going to pop along to that as well. But then we're off to LSU the following morning. We found out today that it's going to be a night game, which is wonderful, but we're trying to make a whole day out of it. So originally the plan was to be leaving at 7 a.m., which would have meant having to get up at 5 or 6. That wasn't looking too healthy with the night before, but Dan negotiated an extra hour for us. Well done, Dan.
Yeah, well, there we go. And there we go. Don't forget, before Wrong Iron, we are going to Port Orleans to celebrate my son's 13th birthday. Be there from 5 o'clock. If you're coming down Tropatulus at that time, stick your head in, say hello, have a pint, make a 13-year-old feel special. Yeah. Right. I've rambled. We've rambled. That's it.
We have.
Next time we speak to you, Mike, will be on US shores.
I'll be in the wonderful city of New Orleans when I next speak, which will be rather fantastic.
Yes, and I'll be packing.
You will.
Right, with that, we'll wrap it up. Have a good week, everyone. Take that. Who there? Take that.
Who that?
And party.
Take that. I want you back for more. Oh, no, good, isn't it? Whatever. Bye.
Either works.
Yeah.